The PlayStation State of Play has seemingly annoyed quite a few people, but it's also impressed quite a lot, and it's quite a clear divide to who and why that is. Now, let's be clear, the Sony PlayStation State of Play was actually very, very solid. However, it only appeals to certain demographics. The most vocal people who are disappointed normally fall on the mainstream consumer side of things. And that has been where Sony, at least this generation, has typically been failing. All the games that we saw last night were solid, at the very, very least, regardless if you're interested in them or not, if you're a core consumer. And when I say core consumer, I'm going to apply that as you're an enthusiast and you're interested in most video games and you keep your finger on the pulse. But everyone else, your mainstream consumer, will probably be disappointed. And that's not really a coincidence. A lot of the games that were shown last night are fairly niche, they're fairly Japanese, where Western audiences typically like Western big budget titles, your mainstream consumer. And if anything, yesterday's State of Play does showcase one glaring issue with PlayStation's current position. They're not really penetrating that mainstream market and mainstream influence that you used to. And it's becoming increasingly difficult for them with the likes of Xbox and their Games Pass. If you were someone that was impressed by the game shown yesterday and maybe a little bit angry that others aren't quite sharing that same belief, don't worry about it. They were never going to share that belief with you anyway, and that State of Play wasn't really for them. And Sony are kind of failing to communicate with those guys, and those guys do have legitimate reason to feel somewhat disappointed. As for the past 2 years, especially, Sony has really built up their catalog of AAA Western-focused games that pushes their consoles in those Western markets. And at the moment, they haven't really got a whole lot to offer those same people when they're selling them huge, big-budget games that show off the power of that console. So in short, if you were disappointed because you thought the games didn't look that great, you're absolutely fine doing that. You're just part of a certain demographic and not part of another. If you're impressed by those games, like me and like a lot of people that are really into video games themselves, then don't worry. There's plenty of stuff to enjoy there. Don't catch yourself arguing online. It's kind of pointless. What you should really be discussing is PlayStation and Sony's current issue where they're failing to really combat and deal with Xbox and the Games Pass, and also understand what the identity is for their console and their brand going forward.